Right. How's everyone doing? Oh, it's been... I missed last weekend. It was a good trip, though. It was a good trip. I got to go to an interesting conference that I want to talk a little bit more about. I got to see and talk to some other industry leaders, and yeah, it was interesting. I'm going to just talk about high level. I don't think any of those talks are going to be published, but I'm going to give my sentiment from the people that I saw speak and what they're doing. That's going to be a good one. All right. Yeah, so we have that. What else are we doing? We're going to talk about KubeCon, some of the big high-level things that I saw there. Actually, we're probably going to focus on one group of stuff. And then that's pretty much it. We have some little AI news we're going to cover at the beginning. We have then the open source stuff around KubeCon. And really, that's pretty much it. Let's get into it then. Actually, while we're waiting, I could just go make a fresh cup of coffee. People haven't quite trickled in just yet. I know you take 1 week off and people don't trickle in. I could do that. Could I do that? Just give some people a little bit of time. Go back to the waiting screen. And see, or should I just kick it off? You know, I'm gonna kick it off, but we're not gonna. That's not the most interesting screen. Let's make sure I don't bump that again. Hi, buddy. You want to come say hi? You don't want to say hi? Okay, yeah. Just in frame. There we go. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it in a little bit of reverse order. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the least interesting things first. Instead of... I probably should do that anyways. I should probably really start out with like the least interesting things. Or not even cover the least interesting things. Let's do that. Let's jump in to maybe the least. I don't know. These always I find to be not least interesting, but more. Let's see. The wording I would say here is like, they're not least interesting. They're just a tighter group of people that would be very interested in them. so less interesting to the general populace. So that, you know, there's stuff that's interesting to the general populace, and then there's things that are interesting to a very set specific group. So yeah. All right. Let's talk about. Sorry, I'm trying to reorder this now. How do I reorder this? This is a good thought process. I'm going to reorder this. I can't break up the open source stuff, which is probably a big chunk. So we'll do that. Then we'll okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the random stuff that doesn't really denote its whole own stuff, while we give people some time to come on in and join us. And then we'll talk about some of the more interesting things. Like, I want to talk about the DX Annual. I got to go to this event, and I want to share some of my takeaways. I got to not only attend some of the things people were saying, but also talk to these people and try to understand. A lot of it was about AI and how leaders are trying to manage this. It was kind of interesting. I haven't gone to a very specific engineering leadership. So it was like director and above conference, which was kind of cool because, like, everybody I talked to, like, most of the people I talked to were like VPs, and that was really awesome because I got to see some of the stuff from their eyes and understand what they're doing. So anyways, it was pretty cool, and I'm excited about just talking some about what it is. I don't have any of the presentations. I don't know. I can only show you what they've made public as far as I know. So if I see anything that's made public from that, I'm hoping. I think that the presentations from Airbnb and stuff, they were made in such a way to be made public. So I'm going to be watching for some of those because we'll talk a little bit more about them. Yeah. Let me fill my cup up with water just so I have something to drink, and I will be right back really quickly. And then we'll dive into some of this. I need to get it cut. It's okay. So this length is the perfectly awkward place where you can't get a rubber band in it. Like, you can't make a ponytail. It's not quite long enough. So like the best thing you can do is like a headband. It's terribly awkward. It's summer though, so I want to cut it shorter anyways. I want to get it off my neck because I do a lot of stuff outside. All right, let's talk about... All right, I rearranged the topics. We're going to talk about some of the boring stuff first just to give time for people to join in. And then we can get into some of the more interesting stuff. Like I said, the DX annual, which was really cool. And then I think the thing that we're going to finish with is the KubeCon stuff. I think that is potentially pretty interesting. I'm going to focus on the big side of KubeCon, which unfortunately is AI, but it's a lot of open source projects that we're going to talk about. But they are all AI. And I'm going to talk about how we're going to actually explore those here in the future a little bit. But the least interesting news of the last 2 weeks was I saw this, the introducing the agent government. You know what? Let's get this music on. We don't need to talk over that. All right. The least interesting. I find when I'm listening to music, I speak louder because you're just hearing stuff, and so then I'm yelling at you all. Anyways, the least interesting news that I saw was this, but I don't think it's actually that uninteresting. So, one of my teams does product security, and in that, I'm very interested in product security and how you can offer these things securely. AI agents is one of those things that I think is very unexplored right now, and we have to do a lot more investigation and research into. So I'm always watching these things. I haven't gotten to use it yet, but the AI, the agent governance toolkit it's open source. It's MIT, so you can go check it out on GitHub. But we talked about the OWASP. We talked about the OWASP. They published the top 10. I agreed with like 6 of them, which were like really actionable things. The other things were less actionable. So I talked about OWASP and the top 10. We covered this article a couple months ago, probably in December 2025. So 4 or 5 months ago. And that was like the first insight into risks specific to autonomous AI. The reason I say there was like 5 or 6 real ones, the interesting thing there was a lot of it was like supply chain risks that were pretty standard. I didn't see them as really different for AI or extending. They were just kind of software, delivering software at scale problems anyways. But that's okay. That's okay. Anyways, so they're doing this AGT, the ACT, I don't know how to abbreviate that, but the Agent Governance Toolkit, and it's an open source project, and it's the first toolkit that looks to address all 10 of the OWASP agentic AI risks. So does it work well? My guess is this isn't the final form. That would be my guess, is that this right here is not the final form. It's a good first issue, a good first take at something like this. This is what you see across the industry when anything new. Let's talk about Kubernetes in 2016 and what the things that we were doing and versus what we're doing, 10 years later. It's vastly different. The best practices are different. The tooling is different. Let's talk about the security tooling for, Kubernetes. Was Falco the first thing? No, it wasn't the first thing. Were hardened containers out there? No, they weren't. So whether this is good or not, that is yet to be seen. We'll say that in 10 years. And it probably will change a lot during that time too. What it is today in a public preview versus what it will be tomorrow, and by tomorrow I mean in 5 years, will probably vary a whole lot. But anyways, it's cool, and I'm excited about it. I'm actually excited about trying to use this one. Its CI is failing. I love it when I show these things off, and it's just like, nah, not today. Not today. CI is failing, but it's out there. If you're wondering what it is, sits between your agent framework and actions agents take. So basically, this is designed to, we have talked about, and we have started to build our own agent that I can use locally. And, we've talked about that RBAC for agents. That's something we were building. And this might be something that we can put in there to make those agents safer as well. So I'm actually thinking that we might be able to do something like that. Unfortunately, it's mostly Python, which will make it more difficult to leverage, but you know, it is what it is. Up next, we already talked about this. Up next is the Cloudflare launches mesh to secure the AI agent's lifecycle. If you guys are in Cloudflare, this might be interesting to you. If you're not a Cloudflare user, it's probably not that interesting to you, but I thought I would let you all know. This is what some of the answers people are asking in security for agents, like how do we do this? So Cloudflare Mesh helps any developer encrypt let me try reading that again. Cloudflare Mesh helps any developer encrypt every human code and agent connection point without ever exposing internal infrastructure and data to the public internet. So basically, it's just trying to secure that AI agent lifecycle if you're trying to run AI agents in the cloud and provide them to the public internet. So again, if you're on Cloudflare, this might be worth checking out. I'm not a Cloudflare user. I do like a lot of their stuff. I have played around with their stuff. Well, I say I'm not an AI user, or not an AI. I do actually use Cloudflare to basically hide my public IP address. So I do leverage that. But that's like a small thing. Moving on in this, it's interesting. We're looking at running out of GPUs. We're looking at running out of silicon. Basically, people cannot produce it fast enough for these large companies. This is why you're seeing a whole bunch of changes to how many credits and stuff people have, and wait times are getting longer. As you submit a prompt, it's coming back slower, and that's because we're running out of GPUs. And a lot of these companies, whether it's OpenAI or Claude or whatnot, have at least usually three ways of using GPUs. You have, I'm going to say two ways. You have two reasons you use GPUs. The first is for your own research, for your training. Now, I saw some statistics that at the KubeCon EU that 63% of GPUs are now used for inference rather than training. But again, I'm not sure how accurate that number is. But it's a little over half is now used for inference. But these companies also have to be training the next generation of model, and they have to balance how many they give to people for inference and how many they give to people for training, or how many they keep for themselves for training. So that's always an interesting balancing act. We'll see. But OpenAI is partnering. I think it was like $20 million or something. I forget the exact number, but they're going to buy more chips. So again, it's interesting to see and try to understand what that's looking like in the future. And the last little bit of like interesting news I saw here, Meta released, as I'm sure, I wish they would have kept Llama. I loved Llama jokes, really. But they went with Spark, since Spark isn't already taken by the, NVIDIA DGX Spark. And how many things are Spark? I don't know. Anyways, they went with Muse, and the first in the line of Muse is Spark, and many people have seen this. And sadly to me, this wasn't made open source. So it's a proprietary weight model. The Llama ones have been open source. But I saw this by the Zuckster himself. That gave me a little bit of hope. Muse, our new family of models. Spark, the first model in the Muse family, powers a new version of Meta AI that you can try today. I haven't tried it, so I don't know, and I don't care, because honestly, the things that you can do with where you can try it in Facebook don't really interest me, so it's not that interesting. It's a world-class assistant and particularly strong in areas like personal superintelligence, like visual understanding, health, social content, shopping, games, and more. Like, this is stuff I don't really do a whole lot of. Like, I don't find this super useful. Like, giving it a picture and helping me achieve the captcha isn't like super, like, visual understanding. I can see the things. I don't need your help seeing the things. And like, they don't have a good API for me to feed them, something that I haven't seen and want to like alert on, like, hey, somebody's coming up my driveway. I'd like to know if you detect a car coming up my driveway. So like it doesn't have, so anyways, that's not helpful. Health, don't care. Social content, don't really have any. Maybe this would help me if I had some. Shopping, don't really do. Games, I play one game exactly. And more. I play more than one game, but I don't even know it. Anyways, not super useful. But the interesting thing of this point was not this at all. The interesting thing was, looking ahead, we plan to release increasingly advanced models that push the frontier of intelligence and capabilities, whatever, including new open source models. So I'm looking for the Zuckster to release those open. I take this as a promise. You don't write stuff like this whimsically. Out of this entire post, which I didn't even know, I didn't even know Threads was a thing. I'm glad somebody on Hacker News saw this, but that's awesome. And I'm looking forward to leveraging those. If they get them out before July, Zuck, if you get it out before July, it will be included in the AI games. If you want that. Otherwise, I'm using Olama Scout. Like, that's a threat. That's a threat. I mean, I know how it performs. It's not going to do well in the games. Get these out there, or I'm using Scout. Okay? All right. That was the random, maybe not interesting news. How's everyone doing? We're about to get into the interesting stuff. The first thing that we're going to talk about is I joined a conference last week called DX Annual. It was very interesting to me. Now, there's not any public sessions out there yet, so I can only talk about I can't show you the sessions, but I'm gonna go over the sessions, like the public information, and tell you my takeaways from those and some of the talks that I talked to. I got to talk about to a bunch of leaders. One of the interesting things about DX Annual, which was really awesome in my standpoint, was it wasn't this massive thing. It was just for directors and up. So there was a lot of directors and VPs that were there. Some like principal engineers or distinguished engineers as well. So it was a smaller group of the leadership, and it was really, really focused on leadership of the AI initiative. And so I found it really interesting because, again, there wasn't millions of people there. It was a smaller focused, which I really liked, actually, because you got to actually talk to a lot of the people that were there. And I really liked that. So let's talk about DX Annual. Well, if you guys don't know what DX is, it's actually one of a few companies that I would take a sponsorship from because I really like what DX does. I really do. And they have some really cool features. I'm going to have to email them. See if they want to do anything, do any collaborations, because they actually have a feature that I've talked about wanting. So you know how I've talked about not having the whether AI generated the code or not, and just because I accepted it doesn't mean the line was correct. One of the things that I got to talk to them here was about how we measure that and how we attribute whether AI generated it. And they have a tool that they've been working on. I've been collaborating with them on that, what I need and want from that tool, because I've talked about it on stream quite a few times about we don't really know how much is AI generated or not. And they are developing a tool for that, which is really cool. Like, they just hook into the file system. Really awesome. Really, really awesome. I'm very excited about it. But that's not what I was going to talk to you guys today about DX Annual. So if you guys didn't know, DX leaders navigating the AI era. So it was really focused towards leaders navigating the AI era. And it had a bunch of fantastic speakers. It was really funny. There was basically 2 tracks that you could follow. And I definitely took the track that always missed. I didn't even realize Vanguard was there, or I don't know how to pronounce it because I never watched their talk, or Indeed. Like, I didn't mean to skip Indeed, these people, and Vanguard, but obviously I did. It was rough. I met Kelly, and I was like, "Oh, where do you work?" And they're like, "Vanguard." And I was like, "Oh, sweet." Didn't realize they came there to speak. But they had a lot of really good presentations from these groups of people, and it was all focused mostly on, how as engineering leadership they were going through the AI enablement. Now, first off, there is some Microsoft research that's like really, really fantastically interesting. And it's going to be, we're going to cover it when it comes out, when it's publicized. But basically, it's trying to say how much more productivity are people getting out of AI. And I feel super vindicated because I have said for a long time that my gut feeling and what I've been able to measure is 5 to 20%. And I'm not going to spoil it until they actually publish it. I am going to be watching for that. But let me say that it falls on the lower end of my scale. And I was just like, done. Now, that being said, the interesting takeaway is that there was also a group of people, three groups of people here that basically were on the other end. So the BNY Bank basically has I don't remember their exact throughput. I don't remember theirs, but let me find the presentation. Not in. Oh, this doesn't have all the sessions on there, which is a shame. Let me find the person. It should be up here. Intercom. So Brian from Intercom had a really interesting talk that I have actually friended him on LinkedIn, and I'm gonna see if I can't talk more, or if he'd come and talk to us and give us that presentation as well. But Brian from Intercom basically has 2x PR throughput. Now, there's a couple interesting things. These are the things that I wanted to dig in deeper and didn't get to the time. If they have measured like feature count, the number of feature counts. So Brian has gone all in on AI. So they do like an AI first workflow, which it was very interesting. Something that we're actually going to try to replicate. We're going to try to replicate and do something with in the AI games. That's going to be one of the things. And it was an interesting thing. One of the problems that I got out of all of these talks, out of all of these sessions, was that people are having a hard time understanding if they're actually being more productive, or are we just making more PRs? Because one of the takeaways was that a lot of people measure their productivity by the PR throughput. But just because you're doing more PRs, are you actually providing more features? One of the interesting ones, and I'm going to also try to bring them on for a talk, was Airbnb. Airbnb is another one. I think that they were saying 3 times, if my memory serves me correctly. Again, I don't want to use any pictures or anything because I don't have permission to necessarily show off those things, although it was at a conference. It was a smaller conference. One of the really interesting things there was they talked about how many things that they made this like internal AI developer platform that you could like make apps for. and they were talking about how like hundreds of these apps have been made, and their very most popular one had only a couple hundred users, which they have 3,000 engineers. Had only a couple hundred users. And so my question was like, they have definitely increased their throughput, but have they increased it in a way where they're making useful things? Because one of the problems with engineering in the past has been making software takes a long time. Do you make useful things? And I think that the idea that I've gotten from all of these people from Airbnb, as well as Brian's thing, was maybe we don't care if we make some stuff that's not useful. The other one would be the BNY Bank, Jason. Maybe we don't care if making that thing is cheap enough and fast enough. Do we care if we just try some stuff and it doesn't work out? And that's my feeling, is like maybe they've gotten to the point where it's like, yeah, we can iterate on this fast enough that we don't care that we waste some time doing some stuff. It's actually maybe cheaper to just go ahead and build it than it is to try to understand if it's actually useful or not before building it. Because trying to understand if it's useful is now more expensive than just building it. That's kind of the takeaway I got from a lot of these talks. Yeah. And we're in an ad break. I was going to ask you all what your thought was at this point. Now, like I said, later this year in the AI games, which is going to be a 2-weekend ordeal. It's going to be a 2-weekend ordeal. One of the things that we're going to do in the AI games is we're going to try to make an AI first application. We're going to try to deploy it. We're going to try to manage it, work it, and run it. And we're going to try how it works. We're going to buy some tools, AI tools, to try to do it. I don't understand what that means, Russell. Hey, you are free. I do make a lot of free content. Oh, not in... Oh. Touche. That happened so long ago. If people don't know, I went to California, and in the same day, or the same week that I went out there, I was really close to his house too. Somebody like ran into like, I don't know exactly what happened, but they were arrested because they like attacked Sam Altman at his house or something. Like I say they attacked. Again, hearsay. I don't really know what happened. Just know that there was, and attacked has like varying levels of like, I got on your property and yelled hateful things at you, or like, again, don't really know. But yeah, that was not me. That wasn't even on the news for today. So same with ChatGPT in human form. ChatGPT like 3.5. It was a little. Was it 3.5 on release that was a little brash, or was that 3? It might have been 3. One of the models, and then they like took it the other way where it was like too nice. There's been some strange iterations. It's been like super robotic, super nice. So anyways, this was really interesting because I got to see a lot of leaders. Some, there was the outliers. So I would say that Intercom, BNY, and Airbnb were the three outliers that were saying we're doubling. There was the Microsoft researcher who said, Microsoft and DX, which they're going to present that summary, that were saying, maybe it's more like 10% increase. There were some that were saying that right now it's actually slowed them down, but they foresee increases. It slowed them down because they're having to work on this tooling. They're having to figure out all of these things, but right now they're actually not seeing gains. And it was really nice to see a bunch of leaders that basically all agreed they didn't exactly know the way forward right now. And they also admitted something I've been saying for a long time. One thing was really great. In all of these people, in all of the panels, there was some consensus. Now they said this at it, but whether these were not CEOs, they were saying things like mandating weren't effective. So this was a really interesting point that the Microsoft researcher dude, which I should have remembered his name. I actually really like the Microsoft Tim. Was it Tim? His picture looks way different than... I'm not sure if it was Tim. Maybe it was Tim. No, it was Brian. It was Brian. I was going to say, his picture looks way different than what I remember. Why didn't they put the two Microsoft dudes together? They put everybody else together. That's weird. Okay. An applied scientist. Senior principal. Okay, so one of the things Brian and DX put together, or what Brian put out, was basically that there was some, I should have brought this up, a Google research a little while ago. Google research that said engineers that felt safe were the most productive. I should have found this ahead of time. Project Aristotle. Okay, so I'm gonna post this link, but this was really, really good. Well, if you're not familiar with Project Aristotle, one of the big takeaways was from this research. They found that it wasn't the most talented engineers. It wasn't stacking the most talented engineers. It wasn't the most clear direction. It wasn't any of that stuff. Clear goals actually goes into that, because that goes to pathological safety. If you have clear roles and goals and plans, that gives you some of that pathological safety. But it was basically teams that felt safe were the most productive teams, hands down. Again, it didn't matter about skill. It didn't matter about tenure. It didn't matter. Like, all of those things, like, obviously have some effect when you're talking about, like, if you just got a bunch of junior engineers, could they achieve the same things? No. But if you're talking about just efficiency, overall, the biggest impact on your team's speed was their safety. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into feeling safe and secure. And it was really nice in this DX conference. Brian brought it up a bunch, as well as a couple other people from like Airbnb, as well as 1Password, about bringing that safety to their engineers. And so anyways, I thought it was really good. I liked every talk that I went to. Like I said, I didn't even know Vanguard was speaking, I don't know how to pronounce. I didn't go to any of their presentations. Didn't even know they existed at it. But yeah, so it was good. It was cool. I'm going to try to get some of these people to join me, because like I said, Intercom was the most interesting one that I attended. They took a very, very AI first approach. And yeah, something we're going to do in the AI games July 4th. latest Claude is meant to be less psychopathic. That's like the funniest thing is with every single one of these releases, every single one of them, like you get used to the old way. It it's so interesting because like the other thing is like as soon as you release one, everybody thinks that they made the old one dumber, which just isn't true because you can run the same benchmarks and it'll get the same like it's doing the same thing. It's so interesting. And the fact of the matter is, the new ones aren't even that much better. They just do something slightly different. And then people latch on to like, hey, it does this one thing slightly different. And they latch on to, oh, it's really awesome at this one thing then. And they don't understand that now it also sucks at some other things. Or that it's not just the one model. It's not the Mythos model. I know we're all waiting for the Mythos model. We'll talk about my feelings about the Mythos model in just a little bit. Um, exactly. That one was always that dumb, and the new one is dumb in new ways. That's my feeling on it because people are always like, oh, well, after using this model for 2 months, I've realized that it's kind of dumb. But I think that's because they're going to release a new one. I literally heard that. 3 weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago. Somebody was like, this Claude version, it's starting to feel dumb. I know that they're going to release a new one. They have a pretty standard release cycle. Like literally they release it's been pretty consistent the number of weeks in between a release. And so it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Doesn't really deserve its whole own segment, but we're going to talk about those AI benchmarks. I know I talk about it a lot because I don't trust the AI benchmarks for a lot of reasons that we've talked about. And I've never had the time to do my whole own research on exactly why these are getting gamed or if they even are. How many people have argued and you got this? You were oh, oh. You're not wrong. So I've talked a lot about benchmarks and how the AI benchmarking, benchmarking in general is bad. I call it marketing in general. Like you're not actually benchmarking. In general, benchmarks are used as a marketing thing because I can gamify every single benchmark. I can take 2 databases and I can make one look better than the other. And in general, I can make it look better at a lot of different things, even things that it's not necessarily better at. And I can even do that trying to be good and trying to do the benchmark correctly. Because a lot of things in the database world, here we'll talk about that, is about tuning your database and tuning it correctly to your workload. Did you make the best index that you can? Did you do the right partitioning? Did you do all of those types of things? And it's knowing the data, knowing the workload, and then also knowing how your database wants to leverage it. And this is the big challenge because if you're an expert in one database and benchmark against another database, you don't know that other database that well. And so doing an actual fair comparison benchmark, in my opinion, is basically impossible. You're always going to have a biased run on that. So I call it marketing, basically. And AI benchmarking is actually even worse. It's actually even worse. Now, I've talked about how I don't trust it. And that's why I do the AI games, because every single time somebody was like, we scored better in the AI benchmarking, we annihilated the competition. And then the benchmark, the model would feel worse. It would do the tasks worse. It would, in real world work, it just wouldn't feel good. And that's why I started the whole AI games in the first place, because just anecdotally from using the models, I could tell the benchmarks didn't mean crap. But now, UC Berkeley went out of their way to take my 2-3 year hypothesis and turn it into real research. So I want you guys to go read this because it has some really interesting topics about AI benchmarks I didn't even know was true. So I've not actually done this, but they actually exploited the benchmarks, got 100% coverage on all of them. Didn't get this one's interesting. This one's interesting. 98%. We'll talk about why this one's 98%. And OS World was maybe the most valid one, but also not at the same time. And the funniest part, 0 task solves, 0 capability required. They didn't even solve the problems in all of these. We're talking SWE Bench, one that I've complained about for a long time, Terminal Bench, SWE Bench Pro, Fieldwork Arena. So this one was one of the ones that I actually thought might be better than the other ones. All of these were really, really bad. So just to cover some of the most egregious, you know why this one's 98%? Basically, you download all the stuff, you run it, and you upload your results. And do you know what the verification is here? That you don't get 100%. That's their safety. That you don't get 100%. So they just literally uploaded that they got one wrong because that's what they had to do. I don't know why it says 98% out of 165 tasks because they just uploaded one wrong. I think it should be 199, but okay. So they go into how they did it on each one of these, and basically proved that some of the stuff was happening on all of them. On basically all of these, some form of that is happening, and people know about it. People know about it. So like Mythos supposedly scored really high, but Mythos also just avoided doing the task. Some of these literally, let's see. Oh yeah, Fieldwork Arena, 100% with a single character. Fieldwork Arena presents 890 tasks where AI agents must answer questions about images, videos, PDFs, and text files through a browser environment. It was designed to test multi-model understanding and web navigation. Its validate method checks only one thing. Did the last message come from the assistant? The message content is completely ignored. The function that would actually compare answers against ground truth is important but never called. It's dead code. Our exploit agent. They just sent curly braces. Some of these were egregious because of just how bad they were. Some, like, if you go to like the SWE Bench Pro, were less egregious on the test. Like obviously there's ways to exploit around it. Let's see, the Terminal Bench one was pretty interesting. So Terminal Bench evaluates agents on 89 complex terminal tasks. From building COBOL chess engines to configuring distributed systems, I don't really... This is interesting and also super esoteric, but yeah. It uses Harbor, a sandboxing framework that re-uploads protected test files before verification. Containers have full internet access, configs true, no task to override. Harbor currently protects tests, but it doesn't protect system binaries. Here's the irony. 82 of 89 tasks download UV from the internet at verification time via curl, creating a exploitable dependency chain. Our exploit replaces curl with a wrapper during the agent phase. When the validator verifies later runs to install UV, our wrapper intercepts the request, installs the real UV, and then trojanizes the UVX binary. The trojanized UVX decrypts PyTest, invocates, and produces fake passing outputs. It writes 1 to the reward file. The verifier trusts it, task passed. And then they did the same thing to pip for the other tasks. Of was for 2 of them, UV, and pip was the rest. Very interesting. Now, a lot of people I've heard are like, well, sure, people can hack the tests. The fact of the matter is there's actually evidence that this happens. And they also get into talking about training. A lot of these are like public. So one of the problems with SWE-bench and SWE-bench verified is that you can actually train on the data sets themselves that are tested. And they actually went through proving that there was fairly good evidence that these are being gamed in that way, where they're actually being trained on the full data sets and getting gamed that way. So it's a very interesting read. You should go read more of it. I found it interesting. Yeah. Again, it's benchmarking, market benching. I'm not sure what it is, but it's basically marketing. You got to be really careful about trusting benchmarks. That's just the end of the story, whether it's AI or anything else. And just because it's third party doesn't even mean that it's good at doing that. How's everybody's 2 weeks? I have been away from home for 2 weeks. I got back in. I took a red eye, which I missed my one-on-one with my boss because it was at like 2 p.m. my time. But I took a red eye. I didn't get home until noon the next day. So I had been awake for like 30 hours at that point. And I was like, I'm going to take a 2-hour nap before my one-on-one. And I was excited to tell my boss some stuff. And then, shoot, I passed out and completely missed it. He knew. He took a bet that I wasn't going to make it. And I was like, I'm setting an alarm. And then I must have turned that alarm off in my sleep. I was like, I'm absolutely going to make it. I'm making it. And he's like, I don't think so. It's like, I'm going to. And I was like, I'm just going to take a quick nap. Freshen up. All right. One trend that I've noticed, and this is actually one that I've called because I've said AI has a pricing problem. And I'm starting to see it come to fruition as we speak. So I've talked about things like how Cursor is losing money, but not only is Cursor losing money, Anthropic and ChatGPT are also losing money. Now, why this is a problem is because we have multiple layers of losing money. So if, I don't know, ChatGPT or Anthropic increase their prices, which each model is getting more expensive, and we can talk into that, but the thinking models are using more tokens and their tokens are more expensive in general. So the tokens are getting more expensive, and if we right size them, they probably will get more expensive in the future still because they're still losing money. And then agents like Cursor are also still losing money. So that means that Cursor is now double losing money, which is hard to even imagine because they are losing butt tons of money. Now, why this is a problem is I'm starting to see now corrections in this. I expect everyone's AI bill, if they don't change anything, to triple by the end of the year. That's my guess. Triple. At least. At least. So, what are we seeing? What are we seeing? Why do I make this call? Well, we're seeing new subscriptions. Last news, we talked about more strict rate limiting, where not only do you have a rate limit, but now you have a window, and there's different times in that window that you're rate limiting. You're basically using double credits if you want to use it during the day and not during the night. So there are a whole lot of new things coming in. You're getting more rate limiting on codecs, which I would say OpenAI has had the best rate limiting so far, and they're increasing. They're making a more expensive subscription, so you can pay more to get. It's a little bit better than the pre-rate limited, $20 a month model. But like, if you want the 20, there is no more. Like, the $20 one got worse, and now this one, it's better than the old $20 one, but it's getting more expensive. And I don't think that this is the end. The other thing that I'm seeing is when companies now are going to renegotiate with both Cursor and Claude Code, guess what? There are no more subscription-based plans for enterprise. That's right. So you know how, like, you can go to Claude and you can go to pricing here. And we're probably going to get the max plan for the AI games. Thank you for not giving me the price. Thank you for not giving me the price. That was useful in your pricing tab. Thank you for vibe coding this. Thank you. Here we go. So we're probably going to use the max plan, but guess what? If you go to enterprise, it's all so if you go to an enterprise, and you want to go to an enterprise because it doesn't have a team plan, does not have any enterprise basically controls, so there's no like audit log. So if you're wanting to do this compliance ways, there is no subsidized plan anymore. They will refuse. Same with Cursor. Cursor is moving to, well, as an enterprise, you can buy seats and you can buy tokens, period. Full stop. They will not sell you this max plan anymore. So that's the first wave. And if you're wondering the difference, the price difference, when I say your bill's going to go up 3 times, that is me assuming that you don't get shoved onto the enterprise and that you stay at like individual accounts at 100 and you have no team-based level thing, because all of those are going to go to tokens, and this is like $2,500 worth of tokens. You're getting like $2,500 if you actually leverage this a lot, like $2,500 worth of tokens. So 3x is generous. I expect more than a lot of people to be spending more than 3x. So Yeah. Snooze and stop being next to each other and not having a confirm to stop is really bad design for phones. Dude, this is what bit me. I think I meant to snooze it and I just canceled the alarm. Gah. It kills me. It kills me. So yeah, I see a lot of expense coming down. I have heard that Claude is getting ready for their IPO. I will be interested in seeing how that goes. Yeah. I think Anthropic going IPO is going to hurt their longevity because I think that it will pressure them to invest less. Like they have a certain number of GPUs and they'll push more to people leveraging it than they will to their researchers. Right? I don't know. But we'll see how expensive it gets. My guess is 3 times at least. At least. That was actually something that we talked about at DX. Is one of the things that I talked to a lot of people because they were saying basically that a lot of more software was being made, but also more throwaway software was being made. But that was okay because right now they were doing it cheap enough, but it wasn't that much cheaper. So like it was cheaper, but not like that much cheaper because they don't get to use subsidized models. So like they're using too many of the features to use subsidized model. These bigger companies were, and so they weren't using subsidized models. But it was cheap enough that it was okay that we made software we threw away. Because let's say we made it at half the price, and we threw away half of the things. Well, now you're come down to about the same price as actually making the software the old-fashioned way, but you got to try 2 different things instead, or maybe you got to do 3 different things. But if the price increases enough, is it actually cheaper? When you have to account for that you throw away more software as well. And they talked about right now that they're okay with it. They're throwing away a bunch of software and that teams are recreating the wheel in a bunch of cases, and they're okay with that. So anyways, that's interesting. The other thing that Claude opened was introducing Claude Design by Anthropic, I hate that they like isolated Claude from Anthropic because it's basically the same thing. This is the models. This is how you use the models. Okay. Basically, short sale some Figma. Now, I don't know how good this is. Until I buy the license for this, I don't actually get to use it. But my plan is to try this. Basically, it's going to kill Figma. Will it? I don't know. Many of these things with bold promises have... I'm going to get rid of the sound there. Many of these things with bold promises haven't actually killed the competition. I'd be interested. Designing is one of the things that I do the worst at. My guess is for me, for my personal projects, it'll be great for me designing stuff, because I suck at designing stuff. And so like, that's my gut feeling. Is it really good? I don't know. We haven't given it a shot, but we will in the AI games. I'm probably going to get Anthropic a month or 2 beforehand just to make sure that it's all wired into everything. So we'll see. I don't know at this point. Talking about Anthropic, let me talk about another thing that they released. Claude Code on desktop. I am super annoyed at OpenAI, Claude, just about every stupid one of these desktop apps. And why am I upset? Well, what is the backing technology? Do you guys know what this UI is built on? Do you guys have any idea? Codex, the same. Do you know what this is built on? Electron. Electron. Do you know why this annoys me? Oh, we're sorry. You can't for Linux. Like, I don't even need an AI. I don't even need to know. I don't even need to know their code base unless if they've done something horrific, absolutely horrific. I could port this to Linux in a day, barring something horrific, which maybe they've done something horrific. But I could port their freaking Electron apps in a day. And they have these almighty Mythos AI. Why? Why? So I can't even show this off to you all. Now, thankfully, I actually watched some people review this Claude code on desktop seems to be utter garbage. Surprise! It seems to be utter garbage. The three people I watched had a whole bunch of complaints. They had like split windows, and the shortcuts would only work for the first window and not on the second window. So like if you use the keyboard shortcuts to like switch which model you're using, it would do it for the first window, not the one that was actively, working in. So it seemed to be pretty rough. There was like a bunch of bugs with it. They'll work them out. But it was kind of like anti-gravity. You remember when I tried anti-gravity when it first came out? It was horrible. Like painstakingly, you couldn't even click on tabs in the second half because those tabs weren't clickable. The quality of software has just gone down. I don't even care if you vibe coded it. You should have used it before releasing it, right? These are the types of things that you should have used before releasing it. You should have used before releasing it. Have Google killed anti-gravity? Oh, they killed it. I mean, it's not dead. They haven't like officially killed it, but they kicked that thing into the ground. Like every update was worse. I think they were like, we're just going to vibe code this and we're not going to actually use the feature we made before releasing it. It was so bad. And this reminds me of that again. Like I said, I haven't gotten to use it yet because #Linux. I use Arch, by the way. Every review I saw of it was absolute garbage. Absolute like visceral garbage. Which surprised me. Yeah, I'm hoping I can get the max plan before this goes away. We'll see. Maybe I should get it now. That doesn't mean that it doesn't get taken away before the AI games, but we'll see. We'll see. Last thing in here, and then we're going to get into Kubernetes. They're topping out one brain's worth, and it's not even DDR7. Look, in 2 years with AI, we're going to be on DDR12. All right. Please, DDR12 or go home in 2 years. You're not going to be able to buy it. It will exist though. Anthropic will have it. And then it's fast will still make you DDR4 because all the DDR5 will be pre-ordered. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right. So Mythos was kind of half released, and then Mythos was, they had their big leak because Mythos was protecting them, and it just leaked all their code, which is kind of embarrassing. I'm gonna say it happens. It happens. There's a lot of red flags at Anthropic. Like, there's a lot of red flags. Like, the fact that their release of Claude Code wasn't automated, big red flag. Like, big red flag. I don't care that they leaked the code. Honestly, Claude Code should be open source. Like, at its core, it's there to sell you API usage. They don't and shouldn't care about the code of it. Like, honestly, it boggles my mind that they cared so much. Anyways, that being said, inside of that, they also leaked Claude Mythos. And so a week later, they announced Claude Mythos. And there was a bunch of things that they did. So introducing Project Glasswing, giving maintainers advanced AI to secure the world's code. So basically, to me, this feels like a $10 million hype campaign, advertisement campaign. Because right now they're basically giving, this is why Project Glasswing matters. Project Glasswing brings together Amazon Web Service, Apple, Broadcom, Cisco, CloudStrike, Google, JP Morgan Chase, the Linux Foundation, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Palo Alto Networks to put a new frontier AI model, Cloud Mythos Preview, to work for defensive security process. Anthropic is committing up to 100 million in usage, 100 million, not 10 million, in usage credits across this effort, with 2.5 million donated to Alpha Omega and the Open Source Software Foundation through the Linux Foundation, and 1.5 million to the Apache Software. So basically, they're donating credits. So they're not actually donating money. They're going to say that one token of Mythos is $20. And they're basically giving them token spin. So when they say 100 million, this isn't actually costing them 100 million. I mean, it might cost 100 million in GPUs, but they already are buying those GPUs. It's just usage. So it again, they're not giving $100 million to people. They're saying you can use $100 million of our infrastructure, which isn't actually costing them $100 million because they should be making profit on top of that. Hopefully, that's the idea. So they made this announcement, and that, big haboo about it, blah, blah, blah. Lots of people on board, lots of talking heads. You can get talking heads. I'm not one of those talking heads. I wasn't in this room. I offered to go and talk about it. I don't think they liked my opinion. I did like, I had this. I think this is a great summary. Anthropic's 30 billion ARR, so they have 30 billion of reoccurring revenue. That does not mean profit. That means 30 billion of reoccurring revenue. Project Glasswing and Claude Mythos Preview. First model too dangerous to release since GPT-2. This summarized it super well for me. I know that I bring this up when Sam Altman was like, we're delaying releasing ChatGPT 2 because it's too dangerous. It's scary good. It's almost general intelligence. And we all know that GPT-3 was really dented and 3.5 was almost more dented. And so that gives you an idea of what GPT-2 actually was like. And so this is the problem. This is the problem that AI companies have gotten them into. I don't know how good Mythos is. I really don't. This cycle of this is so scary, we're going to only release it to a few people is getting boring. It's so good and so terrifyingly good that we're scared to release it. it's been used too much. It could be that good. I don't know. I have no inside notion. The problem is the boy who cries wolf year after year after year. I don't know. Is it good? I don't know. Is it that they're trying to IPO? Does it sound good? Will it get them through a good IPO? Let them coast until they can actually sell their shares? I don't know. Unfortunately, that's all we have to go off of. If you guys didn't know about Project Glasswing, here's the open source side of it. You can go read what the Linux Foundation is doing with that and what they're saying. I probably trust the things that they say here the most. Let's talk Kubernetes. KubeCon. Now, I'm going to apologize. KubeCon was a lot about AI, and we're going to cover their AI stuff. Now, this AI game that we're doing, I'm actually going to try to make an agentic AI first workflow that I can engineer in and actually deliver products you guys can use in the cloud. Like, that's one of the things that we're going to do. That's going to be split up between the first and the second week. And we're going to actually try to build those workflows. We're going to try to do those things and see if we can't use our engineering brains to put the right checks and balances in place and understandings in place and workflows in place and engineer it in such a way where we can actually deliver something. It's going to cost me a lot of money, and it's going to be a fantastic learning experience. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic learning experience. So that's going to kick off July 4th weekend. It'll be good. That being said, we're going to try to build that with AI stuff, with Kubernetes stuff. So it will be interesting. So I was very interested in these projects, and I wanted to give you a rundown right now of where I see these projects, the ones that I'm looking at and am interested in the Kubernetes namespace, and what they kind of do. So I haven't used any of, I've actually used some of these because they used to do something else first, and then they were like, well, we're not really doing that well, so we're gonna pivot to AI and see if we can't ride those coattails and get a little bit more popular. Okay, that's my take on one of them. Maybe not all of them. So let's jump into it. What at KubeCon EU was released? That's interesting. So this is the first one that I said kind of maybe didn't work super well, but maybe renaming and AIifying yourself could help. Valero, formerly HeptioArch. So I used it back when it was HeptioArch. I used it as HeptioArch. Gives you tools to back up and restore your Kubernetes cluster resources and persistent volumes. You can run Valero with a public cloud. It sounds like a gas station, like a petrol station. I know Europeans call it a petrol station. We call it a gas station because it gives you gas. Especially if you eat any of the food from a gas station, you get two types of gas from a gas station. Maybe this is why European ones call it a petrol station, because you don't get two types of gas from your gas station. I don't even know why I went there. I apologize. Anyways, it sounds like a gas station to me, but that's okay. With a public cloud platform or on-premise, basically it lets you back up your clusters. And 7 years ago, when I was using it, it did fairly well. It was a little bit clunky to use back then, but it was also a lot newer. So I'm actually thinking this might be a good backup and restore. I need to try it. So I think that we're actually going to try to leverage this for my local cluster, we're going to try to leverage this for that. They've extended it to do one of the big things at KubeCon was they've actually extended this for your models. So for your machine learning models, like one of the big things that they've been working on this last year is backing up and restoring those persistent models, because they're more and more these models, when you're serving them, have a lot of stateful set stuff. And so using something like Valero or HeptioArc is a really great way of backing up and restoring them. The other thing that looked interesting was these two things. These were not features when I saw Valero, but migrating cluster resources to other clusters. That's awesome. How long has it done this? Has it always done this and I didn't realize it? I'm happy that I've given Valero another look, because this is a thing people deal with, whether you're deprecating one cluster, you're moving to a new cluster, or whether you grew into one really big cluster and you're wanting to break some stuff out into a new cluster. This is something that comes up, and yeah, this is actually awesome. I'm not sure I would use it for this. Just I do DevOps mostly, and so not DevOps. I mean, I do DevOps as well as GitOps. And so with GitOps, this doesn't really become a thing. I guess it's saying state, but I don't know why I would want to replicate state. I guess maybe backwards, but a lot of the times I don't want to do that anyways, because like that's just, that gets messy. I'm not interested in this, but maybe some people are. Anyways, so this was awesome. Another one. So one of the things that we were going to do for my full service that's going to be AI first is we're actually going to build a developer platform. My favorite developer platform is Backstage at the moment, and this actually builds on Backstage. So Open Choreo, I think is what it is a developer platform for Kubernetes offering development and architecture abstractions, a Backstage-powered developer portal. So it's running Backstage in the background, but it does a whole lot more, and it has a big focus on, like AI agents that you're going to run in your, or like providing AI agents access to that as well. So I think we might try using this instead of just Backstage, because yeah, you can look takes a different, instead of giving you a toolkit to assemble your own platform, it provides a complete open source developer platform for Kubernetes with abstractions that translate developer intent into platform reality. So platform engineers don't have to reinvent the wheel. The developers get a self-service experience that lays out that stays out of their way. So it brings together Backstage developer portal built on CI/CD and GitOps, which I super love, because my agent first workflow is going to have to be GitOps powered. Like that's like a hard limit, like or hard requirement that it has to be GitOps powered. Observability, RBAC, and analytics, and all of them organized. So anyways, super cool. We're gonna give it a shot. It could be terrible. I don't know. Haven't used it, but this was one of the things that I saw and was kind of excited about instead of trying to build all of those things together. The next one was AI Runway. This is one that maybe I don't have an intent to leverage right now, because I don't have a bunch of GPUs. I have one machine that's going to be in the cluster with a GPU. That is our newly updated Spark, which I'm super excited about. I thought it was supposed to auto update. In the UI, I have auto update checked on. It hasn't updated this entire time. I updated it. I updated the firmware. We're going to see if some of those problems that we had are solved. There were some models that should have run on it that ran out of memory, which were weird. Anyways, so AI Runway is a way to deploy models on your Kubernetes cluster, and it actually looks really, really awesome. So if you're running a bunch of models yourself, if you're buying GPUs in the cloud and running models, it looks really, really cool. So like if you just look at this, like we don't have to watch the video. I'll send you guys a link if you want to check it out. But basically, it allows you to see all the models in Hugging Face and basically just one click deploy them. It also tells you how much memory it's going to need. So like this one is saying like it's a perfect fit because it has a machine with the right amount of GPU memory to fit the model in memory. So like it also looks at like what machines you have and if it will fit on those machines and things like that. So it does some of that type of orchestration for you. It allows you to filter. So it's basically just like a really convenient way of giving engineers the ability to spend a lot of money, in short. But also if you're wanting to give them the power to experiment with these things and run them in a place, and you don't want to buy them a DGX Spark, if this might actually be cheaper than buying each of your engineers a DGX Spark. That's the truth of it. I don't have any plans, like I said, of leveraging this right now. But when my services are big and making me a lot of money and I can afford to, then we'll do it. Holmes GPT, the CNCF SRE agent. I was trying to say that with a British accent. Absolutely failed at it. Another one that I'm excited about, but probably not going to use this year. Maybe our SREs are going to, but is the open source AI agent for investigating production incidents and finding root causes. Now, we are going to use this in the AI games if I have the time to do it. I think this would be really cool to hook it up to, basically just some logging source and making a service that errors and seeing if it can't fix it and figure it out. I know that whatever I develop as a scenario for that won't be a real world. Real world's going to be a lot messier than like, hey, you have a firewall turned on or something, whatever stupid thing that I come up with. But it will give us a feeling of how well it does for those things. And how well could it do at like automatically detecting? Like what I want to do is have it automatically detect and automatically fix the things. Or does it automatically break the things? I don't know. I'm excited, but I'm also super terrified. Maybe it just suggests like worst case, if it was a thing that sat there and helped you debug and you could have it like go look for information and pull back links for you, I think that would be super powerful. So like in an incident, you could be like, Holmes, find me data related to this, or find me signals, if you're like in Datadog or something, find me signals related to this. And it comes back with a link. Amazing. That would be amazing. Or like search for any other elevated error rates that might not be past your SLIs. Amazing. I think that could be super, super helpful. Dynamo was the next one. Dynamo is an orchestration layer. So you're wanting to orchestrate your LLMs. I'm not going to use this one this year, but if you're trying to do it, Dynamo is orchestration layer above the inference engine. So it turns coordinated multi-node inference system, designated serving, intelligence routing, multi-tier KV caching, automatic scaling. So like it sounds like it's trying to solve some of those really hard problems. It's also built in Rust. It's built in Rust. Now it has a Python wrapper, which is a little sad, a little bit sad. And the really sad part is the Python wrapper feels more than just a wrapper. The Python wrapper feels more than just a wrapper, but it's interesting. So, I was hoping that it was like a Python wrapper that just wrapped around the Rust project. I don't know. Maybe it is, and it just requires that much more code. Usually Python wrappers are like 10% of the actual code. I'm not sure. Now, this could also be wrong because this isn't actually a perfect representation. It's kind of a guesstimate. I have seen it be wrong before. Also, like, it probably doesn't have CUDA. It probably misdetected this. The same with the other. These are probably like the TOML files that are on Rust. Like, yeah. There's also markdown files that you don't see counted. They're either in other or didn't get. Again, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. I didn't realize this for the longest of time. I actually thought that this was like calculated. And it feels more like it's an AI agent that posts this based off of fields. In some projects, especially. Some, it's pretty good. Anyways, the multi-tier KV caching is a really interesting one. That's hard problem. It's a hard problem, especially when you're trying to orchestrate many LLMs. So that's cool. Watching that one. The DRA driver I found very interesting. Basically, is a novel concept in Kubernetes for flexibly requesting, configuring, and sharing specialized devices like GPU. So basically, it just allows you in a Kubernetes native way to configure your third-party vendors. The DRA driver for NVIDIA GPUs manage two types of resources, GPUs and compute domains. Correspondingly, it contains two DRA kubelet plugins. Upon driver installation, each of these two parts can be enabled or disabled separately. The DPU allocation side of this driver will enable powerful features such as dynamic allocation of MIG devices. I think what they're trying to do is where you can split up a GPU to do multiple things. That's what they're trying to do. Instead of like, hey, the GPU is going to do this, and then it's going to switch over to doing this wholeheartedly. Can we have it do two things? I think that's partially what this is looking to do. So I'm kind of excited about it. Right now, the only real alternative to this is like GPU will or NVIDIA will sell you a very expensive product suite to do this to your like as a very big. I have hundreds of the enterprise grade GPUs, not your consumer grade GPUs. So yeah. Anyways, it's interesting. Maybe not the most interesting for everybody, but yeah. Oops. Okay. Grove. This was supposed to be in a different. I have a different section for this, but it's again another orchestrating AI inference workload. So if you're trying to orchestrate AI inference workloads, which a lot of people are starting to shift towards AI inference, whether it's your own chatbot or whatever you want to do your inference with that you trained a model or something like that. This is kind of something that you might be interested in looking at. And then the last one is the KAI scheduler, which is the Kubernetes AI scheduler. This one optimizes for GPU resource allocation for AI and machine learning workloads. Now, if you guys don't know, you can run different schedulers in Kubernetes, and this is one of those. So you can actually make your own scheduler. It's designed to manage large-scale GPU clusters. Now, when I looked into this, it did not look like it handled general compute. And so, like, I don't even know. I'm not saying this for fact, but I don't even know that you want a mixed cluster. I think this wants a purely GPU-based cluster. You're not min-maxing CPU and memory. You are min-maxing GPU, period. So if you have a machine in there that's not GPU, I don't know that this would do very well. That's my feeling. I could be wrong. We're about to get ads. So I'm going to just pause here. I'm going to pause here because this is the last thing in that section. I think this just wants GPUs from my reading. Like I said, I could be wrong. And maybe they'll add more general purpose scheduling in there. What you could do if you have a mixed cluster, this sounds gross. what you could do, and I've never run a mixed scheduler. What you could do, I think, is you could run a mixed scheduler and do like 2 different node groups and say these are all GPUs and everything on here is done by this scheduler and everything over here is done by this scheduler. And so you have 2 different schedulers that's scheduling different sections of your Kubernetes cluster. I tried to do a mixed scheduler on the same nodes, but like with different priorities. It was kind of terrible, terrifying and terrible. Yeah, it was terrifyingly terrible. But I think you could possibly separate them out if you really wanted to keep it all in one Kubernetes cluster, which could have like benefits too. If you have one Kubernetes cluster, like the networking, if you want to network between an app and the inference engines, they could make networking simpler instead of having you cross GPU communication. I don't know. What do you guys think? All right, coming up next, we have some stuff around security for AI agents. So we have agent identity, which I think is pretty interesting. You know, we're going to talk about these as soon as the ad break is done. Yeah, we'll talk about those as soon as the ad break is done. What else is going on in your guys' weekend? After this is done, we're going to play around with I downloaded some stuff. We're going to try to get the Spark kicking again. Just updated it a bunch. You know, honestly, interesting thing. I have to install Olama outside of Olama. Which is fine. I had to update Olama because it wouldn't pull Gemma 4. I got some new things downloaded for us on the Spark. I wanted to use Gemma 4, but I haven't actually gotten it now. Let's see if we can do this during the last part. It's on a different internet connection, I think. If I'll have to stop this if it destroyed my stream, but I don't think it will because it should be on a different internet connection. My stream is actually run off of my backup internet. So I have 2 internets here because I live in the middle of nowhere and both are unstable. Both are unstable. I hate how much that's true. Both are unstable. And so I actually have, you know, a failover, but my stream runs on my failover. So it's not on the machine that I'm doing stuff on because both are sensitive enough that if I did this, it would destroy the stream. So the stream goes through Starlink because it has great upload. And then my default for everything else is through T-Mobile because it has better download speeds generally. But in general, its upload is just garbage, like literally garbage. Yeah. Like sometimes I wouldn't even get a half a megabyte per second up. You can't stream with it, basically. I called them because their guaranteed is higher than that. And they're like, well, it must be your problem. And I was like, your download is fine. So my antennas are hitting. They're like, well, try putting it in other places in your house. No place. It's right beside a window. It works any better. I should try it outside. I should try to put it outside. That's what I should do. Let it get rained on. Anyways, it is nice having two internets because I live in the middle of nowhere. So for work, I pretty much don't have an interruption. Starlink struggles during storms, whereas the 5G internet doesn't. So the 5G internet generally doesn't have a problem with storms. Its upload speeds are just poo poo. I have the wrong trees outside. That's the problem. Actually, I have trees outside my window. I should upload some pictures of where I live. We just call it the green wall. Because basically my house ends. I have a deck. My deck ends, and it's just the green wall because it's the brown wall in the winter because it's just dead or hibernating trees. And in the summer, it's it's just like all of a sudden solid green. You can't see anything. It's supposedly a pretty view because like the house drastically slopes off. We live kind of on it's not a cliff, but it's steeper than you can walk down, but not a cliff. I would say cliff is like vertical, and this isn't vertical, but like it's a pretty breathtaking view that you can't see during the summer because just trees. Just trees. And I refuse to cut down trees that I don't have to, that aren't serving a real purpose. But in the winter, when everything is dead, it's actually a gorgeous view. It's actually a gorgeous view. You just can't see it in the summer. Okay, all of that. Starlink complains because Starlink, there's too many trees too tall. In the middle of my yard, I don't have a big yard, but in the middle of it, too many trees. Blocking the low angle view. Whatever. Okay. Last things here from KubeCon 2026 EU. Let's talk about agent identity. I don't like referring it to as like human identity, but you want to have a registry basically for your agents. And this helps people know what you have. It also helps like your security tooling know what's valid and what's not. So like even like basically anything that's good for humans is also good for agents, it turns out. It turns out like when you want to secure something, you need an agent registry. If you want to know who owns an agent and if it's misbehaving, you need a registry. So it's good to see these things. Now, what I want to know is like right now, this is separate from like Backstage. And I know that the project we show actually has agent registry as one of the pieces it uses to plug into Backstage. But when does this become part of Backstage? When does this become part of those things? So we don't have a separate tool. I think that's one of the problems that we have is we're having a bit of a tool sprawl, which is hard to maintain. I'm not hating on this project, by the way. I'm calling it out as a cool thing that we need. I also just want to see some unification done because tool sprawl is real. The other thing is Dapper agents. So this is built on Dapper, if you know of that. But Dapper Agents is a developer framework designed to build production-grade, resilient AI agent systems that operate at scale. Built on top of the battle-tested Dapper project, it enables software developers to create AI agents that reason, act, and collaborate with LLMs while leveraging built-in observability, stateful workflow executions to guarantee workflows complete successfully. So this is giving you, again, a little bit more observability into your agent system. That's why I put these two things as, kind of similar. They're trying to solve that problem of observability into your agent. Now, observability is a big overloaded word because you could talk about logs and things like that, which are also important, but these things are also really important. The last group here, which I didn't name, is just some more, I feel like they're somewhat security related, but just a couple other things that came out. K agent, is a cloud-native middleware providing framework-neutral, scalable, and secure platform for deploying and orchestrating AI agents. So this is providing zero trust security architecture. I've talked so much about this. If you want agents to actually do stuff, you really have to not trust them. Like when you're talking about internal developers, you could talk about zero trust for internal developers and why that's a good idea. But agents will actively do things maliciously. They're not being malicious, so you can't really use the word malicious, but they will go and delete your production database and things like that. So having this for agents, if you actually want agents to do things, is more important than I can tell you. Like if you're having agents do stuff, if you're doing the SRE agent that we talked about, where was that? Homes. If you're wanting Homes to actually go do stuff, you have to have some way to limit the things that it's allowed to do and to enforce that and to authorize and do all of that. So this actually looks really cool. It does everything from zero trust security architecture, authorization, authentication and authorization, trusted workflow identity, deployment and configuration, scaling and fault tolerance, discovering of agents and tools, and state persistence. So like where it was. Is every framework going to become an agentic workflow? Probably. So let me talk about that in just a second. That's a good... So Kagent is a Kubernetes native framework for building AI agents. If you're trying to build one in Kubernetes, kind of cool. And I don't know why I had this. Okay. The last, I think that was supposed to be deleted. Maybe not that interesting. There's also a slew of AI agent gateways. So all of these are trying to solve how do we provide agents like actual access to the agents, right? You have your agents back here, your MCP servers, your LLMs, your OpenAI API and whatnot, and you're wanting to give agents, CLI, IDEs, and users access to these things through your security and whatnot. I'm actually really, really excited about trying some of these things. If I provide, one of my goals is to provide Spark access to you all, and I might do it through something like this. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just starting to look into it. And so there was a bunch of projects. There's Agent Gateway. There is AI Gateway. This is built on Envoy Proxy. So this is like a plugin to Envoy Proxy is their AI gateway. Then this is like a Kubernetes based one. So this is in the Kubernetes SIGs, the Gateway API inference extension. The reason this is important is that's what most of these are built on top of. And then finally, there's this one maybe looks a little less interesting to me, but the Quadrant operator, which leverages API gateway and policy attachment and gateway providers like Istio and Envoy Gateway with additional features via policies. I think that if you're already using these two things and you want to tack this on, this might be like really useful to you specifically. I'm going to try to do something more around like something designed to do that, but we'll see. Yeah, I decided not to talk about X402. We can look. I leaked it. So let's talk about it. That's a terrible link. Don't use that link. Use this link. Yeah, it feels like a military jet. Yeah. What is the X402 protocol? The Linux Foundation, enabling mass innovation through open source, today announced it's launching the X402 Foundation with contributing the X402 protocol from Coinbase. So blockchain has gotten involved. Blockchain said, I want to be part of the hype engine. I couldn't not be part of the AI hype engine. And I want to get there. I want to be there. I want to be in that ecosystem. They're feeling a little jealous. 2 years ago, blockchain, blockchain, blockchain. What can we do? Well, the X402 protocol created by Coinbase is moving to the Linux Foundation. The X402 Foundation, I love that the foundation is named after the protocol. Very interesting. The standards governing body initiated, developed by Coinbase, Cloudflare, and Stripe is launching with a broad set of initiatives. I didn't actually know it existed until I saw the Linux Foundation post on it, so I was in the same boat. An open source model for the benefit of all internet native payments. Can we stop? I want to ban the word native from technology. I want to ban the word native from technology because we are abusing the crap out of this word. Like, this poor word needs, it was first cloud native, which I kind of understood what it meant. It meant that you were building things to be deployed to the cloud first. That's kind of my understanding on it. But that word got abused the crap out of. And now it's AI agent native. Now it's internet native. Now we're just slapping native on Merrick native. That's like things that were made to appease Merrick. Like, when I find something that agrees with me, I'm going to call it Merrick native. Canada native. Exactly. That actually means something. Canada native actually probably means something. Unlike internet native. Anyways. The new foundation will serve as the neutral home for X402, a universal standard for payments that embeds payment directly into web interactions, enabling AI agents, APIs, and apps to transact value as seamlessly as they exchange data. So basically, payments for agents. That's like the short story of it. Drop the T. Oh. X402 moves us towards a more open financial system where sending value online is as simple as sending an email. If you believe in 2026 that your email has any value to me, you are massively wrong. Massively, massively wrong. I guard my email. It's a precious resource. The X402 scams. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, did you guys... Oh, did I report that last news? I did. I reported that last news. Okay, I was going to say the Axio hack, where like they stood up the whole system to fish this one guy. It was particularly impressive because like I read through the whole thing, and I know that they use Teams, and the reason I just keep bringing it up is we have to be vigilant because that hack was so convincing. I think I would have fallen for it. I honestly think I could have fallen for it. The only thing that would have protected me is that I use Arch, and I wouldn't have installed Steam. Or it's not Steam. I wouldn't have installed Teams. I would have like tried to do the web, which it wouldn't do the web. Because like the whole thing was to set up for that hack. And I wouldn't have installed it. But so I would have been protected, but like It was so good. It was so good. People start begging with OpenClaw. People start begging with OpenClaw. Okay, really quickly before we break. Olama. Let's jump into Oma. What model should we download during the break? I have Quinn 3.5, right? I have Quinn 3.5. Oh, I don't have Quinn 3.5. I don't have Quinn 3.5. Well, should we do Quinn 3.5? Wait. What are my Quinn models? I got Quinn 3 Coder. Is there a 3.5 quoter? Quoter? Is there a quoter? Is there a quoter one? They shouldn't be Quinn 3.5 or 3.6 Coder. It should be Quinn 3.6. It should just be Quoter 3.6. Let's just look for Quinn. Should I download the Coder or the Quinn 3.6? I heard Quinn 3.6 did really, really well. Are they not doing Coder ones anymore? I'm guessing not. Yeah, I forgot 3.6 came out instead of 3.5. We'll just grab the latest. Is there a different one than this one that you guys would enjoy? Oh, I didn't get the Gamma. Not the Gamma. Gemma. Oh, right here, Gemma. Is it Gemma? Gemma 4? Gemma 4? I don't know. Wait. I have the Granite 4. This is the one that didn't ever work that we maybe need to work on. I did download Gemma 4. I was going to say I downloaded a couple models, and that one felt like it was one that I did download. So I already got that one. I heard people talking about Minimax. Should we try the Minimax for coding? What's the latest Minimax? We're going to do the quoter. And then we'll do we'll grab Minimax too. While I'm making coffee. I'll come back and check on this, and we'll do a pull request. Did we fix? I don't know if we fixed. Did we fix? Did we fix? No, I don't think it's working. I actually don't think it's working. Let's I think we got it. I think we got it building. But I don't think that we got it actually working. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about this. I forgot. It's been 2 weeks, okay? It's been 2 weeks, and I forgot about this. And For some reason, our last build didn't work either. And I never saved like a good build. So I want everyone to spend the next 15 minutes getting up, walking. We're going to hang out. We're going to work with some stuff on this. We might try what you know what we're going to try to do? We're going to try to use the very best model to vibe fix this problem while we play around with some things. An interesting thing. Okay, you know, I have a lot of takeaways from the DX annual. The conference I went to last week. One thing that I got a takeaway was we don't actually know that we're actually writing software faster with AI agents. What was it that was related to this? Oh, there was a topic. That I thought of. I had so many conversations and I need to write down some notes. Like literally I got back yesterday and I hung out with the kids some and literally left this conference and took a red eye. Like the conference ended at like 9 p.m. and I went from 9 p.m. to airport to red eye to getting home at like noon. But I say getting home, I actually went to my sister's house. I took a nap, missed my meeting with my boss. After missing my meeting with my boss, I got up, helped my sister build some shelves, and then got home at like 10 p.m. So like I hadn't been home for 2 weeks at that point. It was kind of brutal. I'm not gonna lie. So I haven't been able to compile my thoughts here, but there was a lot of really good conversations. What was the one that we were talking about? What was I was just thinking about one and I was like, oh, let's talk about that because that was interesting. Okay, well, we'll talk about it after the break if I remember it. Well, there was actually a lot of debate about whether people were actually moving faster. Microsoft's research, this guy down here, Brian, basically did a study of some of the biggest companies heavily using AI. And that study is actually coming out, and I'm going to cover it. So Abhi from DX and Brian from Microsoft is doing this. And that research, I'll cover it when it comes out. They gave us a sneak peek. But the basic sneak peek was that it was 7.74, I believe is the exact number. More PRs. But the interesting thing about that is that's just measuring PR throughput. When a lot of these people like Airbnb and Brian from Intercom would tell you and argue that they produce a lot more crap software as well that they just throw away. They experiment and they throw it away. Now, I would say the outliers here is Airbnb and Intercom. They're doing more like 2 times the number of PRs. 2 times, but by their own admission, they are triplicating, quadruplicating PRs, or not PRs, but like software, and throwing away like 4, 5, 6 times the amount of software. And so there wasn't strong consensus on even if they were moving faster with all of this stuff, because there was a lot of like, they're trying to skip what these companies found, what they found, and I've said this for a long time, is that making the software wasn't the hard part. It was figuring out what to build, which was the hard part. And so what their take on right now is, let's try not to figure out what to make and just build a bunch of crap and throw away a bunch of crap. I don't know if that's a good approach or not, but that's kind of the approach that these two companies are doing. And they are putting out absurd amounts of features. And they're doing a bunch of stuff to like they're actually doing a bunch of cool engineering where they're like validating that it's at least good quality code, or at least attempting to make it good quality code. And things like that. It was very interesting. I wish I had more time to speak with them. It was very, very little bits here and there. My favorite presentation was SiriusXM. Oh my goodness. SiriusXM talked about, I'm going to go make a cup of coffee. Then we're going to talk about SiriusXM. It was the best presentation because it was almost something you should do without AIs. And it just made working with AIs better. You could have taken AI out of the presentation, and SiriusXM, a person I would not have expected to appreciate their presentation so much, had a really cool concept we should talk about. But I'm going to talk about that after this short break. Oh, you're so tired of apps getting 14 new features a month and changing the GUIs 5 times a month? You are not wrong. I'm there with you. I hate software today. Is Windows 11 one of those? We should just go to Windows 12. Like, Windows 11 has had, like, people love to hate Windows 10, but like, Windows 11 has been a hot dumpster fire. Every move they've made the platform worse, more unstable. They've added features like, let's take a snapshot of your screen every second and record that. And they have made so many blatantly horrible moves in 11. They just need to go to 12. Like, it doesn't even have to change. It can just be 11, reskinned, like do a light update as 12 and move on. Like, they just need to move on. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You're not wrong. Our software has become very unstable. And I don't even mean unstable from like a bugs perspective, because we could talk about bugs perspective, but even like the APIs and those types of things have become unstable. And in fact, I had this conversation at this conference where this conference had an app for you to install and you could network through the app and stuff. And almost everyone I talked to was like, I don't want another app. I don't want to update another app. I don't want to maintain another app. I'm tired of yet another app. Yeah. Russell's like, my secret. My application has always been unstable. I've never had a stable API. Russell was ahead of the game. He was rocking 2026 software in 2025. Or I meant 2015. It was also interesting. So like, this conference was just a bunch of leaders. So it was like directors and VPs, which was really cool. It wasn't a very big, it was more intimate. Like, I saw a lot of the same people, and you actually got to know a couple of people. And, I asked a bunch of them. I had like I had a couple top things that I tried to ask each person. And one of them was, in the last 2 years, do you think the quality of software has gone down or improved? Every single one of them said across the board it's gone down. Not one sat there and defended that there was higher quality software today. Which I found. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't get to ask everybody. It was just like the half dozen people that I got to ask. Probably dozen. Probably around 12, 13. It was a baker's dozen, actually. There was a baker's dozen of people. One person said yes, but caveated it that they think it's because they're using the AI wrong. I won't call anybody out, Brian. I won't call Brian out. I won't do it. I like Brian. I want to actually get him on for a talk. Brian and SiriusXM are two people I'm going to try to get on. I'm actually going to try to implement what SiriusXM is doing at my company. I was so moved by it. I don't know if I'll be able to because like I'm not that high of a leader. I'm no executive VP. But I was super moved by it. I think it's worth it. It's a novel concept of how to prioritize. And it's so cool. It's so cool. You just feel like the software landscape is so depressing nowadays. Well, never fear. I'm going to produce some crappy software that you guys can use. You can see how it's made so we can experience it all together. And you can then come and complain live on a stream about how bad it is. And while you'll be like, yeah, but I already have crappy software. But when do you get to know and actually hate the individual doing it? Like, most of the time you're just like vaguely hating how the UI has changed 12 times on you. But now you can be like, Merrick, you approved that PR. I watched you do it. I hate it. I can't believe you. It's good. It's good therapy. It's good therapy. Oh, that's the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of Twitch and YouTube chat and I'm going to make my own chat. No, I'm not going to leverage Discord. You could join my Discord server because you need to do that too. But I'm going to make yet another app just for the live streams that also then basically what it's going to do is you all are going to chat there and it's going to replicate all of your messages to all the platforms. And it's going to respond with an AI agent because I know that you guys don't want my true honest feelings. I'm just going to use an AI that's like ragged on like some very snarky things. Yeah. That's the first app that we're building. And the greatest part is you're going to have to pay to use the app. Like you're not going to get to chat for free anymore. We're going to leverage X402 tokens. So basically every chat message is a token. So you're going to have to pay me pennies each message that you send. But I mean, it's going to be awesome. Welcome to the future. Are a lot of people making made apps? Like, I don't even know how an AI would clean my house. Let's ask ChatGPT to clean my house. I mean, I'm going to be excited. I'm just teasing you. You spelled made instead of made. Like, made like I'm going to clean your house made instead of like... English is an amazing language. Let me tell you about how English is such an amazing language that I hate. The only thing that I love about English is hating it. Because we can't flip and make up new words. We just re-mean words to completely different things. And then maybe spell them in a different way. Oh no, I'm sure. I'm sure you know like 12 languages better than I know English. You're fine. Also, the great part is, it's super hypocritical of me because I'm probably worse at English than you are. It's not my skill set. English is not my skill set. I consider English the bash, maybe Python, maybe TypeScript of the spoken languages. It's terrible, but spoken everywhere. It's terrible. It's janky. It has a lot of weird things like, can you sound out a word and spell it? And the answer is definitively, absolutely not. Actually, if you phonetically or ponically uh, spell something, you're most likely going to spell it incorrectly. It's the absolute worst language out there. So no shame. As many people know, I'm dyslexic, and so I actually spell by typing. I spell better when I type than I do if I write it down because it's just muscle memory. I don't actually know what the word looks like. I can't actually spell it. Oh no, people. Where's my Olama tab? Okay, Minimax. We got to download this. I copied the wrong thing. Oh, I don't want cloud. Oh, wait. Is there a non-cloud? One second. Is this only in the cloud? Maybe this is just a cloud thing. Oh, okay. Maybe not Minimax. Maybe not Minimax. Is there another one? I do need to go make some coffee. I love chatting with you guys. You should order pizza. I should I love pizza. I hate that I love pizza too. Like I live in a very small town. So I don't know if people know what like a 3,000 people town in the US. That's where I live. And unfortunately for me, the one thing we have is a really awesome family owned pizza place that makes like some really authentic Italian pizza. And it kills me because I absolutely love it and should not be spending my money on pizza. I could have another Spark, DGX Spark, if I didn't buy pizza. Is there one more that I should go? You know, I'm gonna try to get the Minimax. They say cloud. I don't know. I'm gonna try pulling it. I think it might not work. I think it might not work, but you know, I'm gonna try. What can I say? No. That was too fast. That was too fast. That was too fast. Yeah, shies of 0. Okay, that's not working. Whatever that is, ain't working. I have a bunch of these. I got the Quinn and the Gemma. Gemma? Ga- I don't know. I don't know. Might be able to get mini max from Hugging Face. Oh, do I have to like sign a thing? Is that why like So they don't use Olama or Olama. Yeah, they don't use Olama. I think we have VLLM. We might have to update our testing harness for the AI games to support VLLM, or maybe we can get it into Olama. Oh, is that? It has the word mini. One second. How big is this? Oh. It has the word mini in it. So I thought. I guess it also has max in it. Okay, we're not going to download that one right now. We're not going to. We're not downloading that one just right now. Is it available here, or do I need to go download it? What is it called? OpenAI. They did OpenAI open weight model. GPT. Oh yeah, GPT. Yeah. Oh, thank you. We can download this one. Then I'm gonna make coffee. Ooh, 120. 120. Let's try this one. 65 gigs. Do I have enough space? Do I have enough space? I have enough space, don't I? I think I do. I'm just gonna YOLO it. All right, that's gonna take a little while. Unfortunately, okay, it wouldn't have worked anyways. This is awesome because, like, if you guys played Wordle, this consumes the internet of this machine, so you wouldn't be able to play Wordle. Unfortunately, Wordle is still broken. Maybe I broke it. So we're just gonna play some music. We're gonna play some music, and I'm gonna go to a break. You guys go for a break. It's gonna be about 15 minutes. I'm gonna make a full cup of coffee, and I'm gonna take the dogs out. So it's gonna be about 15 minutes. Give me 15 minutes. This is gonna be about 20 minutes. We're gonna come back. We're gonna play with this. I'm gonna talk about the interesting things at DX. I'm not gonna talk about all the things. I'm gonna talk about the Sirius XM. So we're gonna talk about that because I thought that was interesting. And we're gonna write some code. We're gonna mess around with some stuff when I get back. And thanks everybody for joining. Love seeing you out here. Love hanging out. I'm back. How's everyone doing? Oh, that was a good walk. All right. I wanted to talk about not obsidian. We're gonna pull up obsidian. We're gonna pull up obsidian here. We're gonna draw some. You good boy. You wanna say hi? You wanna come say hi? You can come up here and say hi. Yeah? Go boy. Go boy. I know. I know. You're gonna breathe into that a little dog ASMR. Yeah, you can breathe into. You can continue breathing into the microphone. Oh, I know. You just want pat. Good boy. Good boy. Is this all you want? Yes, it is. Oh, there we go. Get some good dog ASMR. Oh, you stop every single time. I'm gonna have to teach him to breathe into the microphone. I know that you guys will like that. Premium content. Premium. Oh, are you feeling left out now? Oh yeah, you are. The girl is sitting over there. Like, wait a second. I want to turn. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You're so left out. Yeah. Oh, oh. She will bite me. You're coming up here now? Is it your turn? Oh no, you just okay. Just wants to bite me. All right. All right. No, I'm not talking to you. I know I say all right to you too. Oh, don't I? You go calm down somewhere, okay? Yeah, you go lay down. You can come up and say hi. No, you don't want to. You don't need another turn. You don't need another turn. Yeah. Okay. How about you go lay down? All right. Go lay down. Yeah. Yeah. I love how I say go lay down and it's right there. Just like, okay, lay down. Achieved. All right. Let's talk about prioritization. I think prioritization is one of the things I hate most about software engineering, or especially as like I have grown more into a leadership role. Is prioritization is one of like I absolutely hate prioritization. I'll tell you why. I'm just gonna make up a little bit of a fake scenario here. Let's see. We have these tasks. Let's move them a little closer together. Something like that. We'll organize them really quickly. What do I want? I want this and then this. Can I? Yeah, shorten them all. Okay, so we have these tasks. And it looks great. But what actually you'll find out is that it's not like this. It's like this. That this is one team. This is another team. And this is another team. So, and you have these tasks, and the true in a better scenario. Okay, let's send this to the back. I should be better at this, but I am not. Send to back. Okay, task 3. Task 5. Yeah, 5. All right, task 5. Task 6. And we got some other tasks here too. 7. 8. So we got teams that have tasks like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to color code these things here. Like this. Now, what I'm going to say here is that the number is in order. So for green, task 2 has to be done before task 4. For red, task 1 has to be done before task 3, before task 6. And then for blue, task 5, then 7, then 8. and so what becomes a company's big problem here at a high level, and this is, you know, usually there's a lot of teams, and this, you know, we could say this is engineering here. And then you also have to do this for marketing and so this is like where a PM starts to step in, and where a really good PM does this job really, really, really well. Like this is one of the jobs that they help to do, is to help prioritize things based off of stuff. And so, you know, this is, as you get higher up, this is a big deal. And honestly, it's really difficult. So team A here has 4 different tasks here. Each task supports a different initiative, a different thing. So if they don't do task 1, team B and team C can't work on task 3 or 6. And you know, honestly, like this could be like, let's do this. This one's, so if they don't work on task 2, team C is blocked. If they don't work on task 8, we could actually flip this around like this, just for illustrative purposes. If they don't work on task 5, team B is blocked. And they also have task 7. So this is like almost a standard platform team thing, is where almost all teams depend on you, and you have to prioritize the things that you're doing. And prioritizing the things that you're doing is going to block other people. And let's say task 7 will make you move 50% faster. It's not for anybody else. Makes platforms move 50% faster. That's a huge gain. That's amazing. But it doesn't unblock anybody, right? None of these teams can do anything that they need to do because of this, right? And this gets even more complicated because team A could be depending on other people. You know, there could be a task 0 down here that these guys are going to depend on. This is just a very quick and dirty. There we go. Just a quick and dirty example. And so then the question becomes, how do you prioritize the work? What's the most important thing? You know, is it completing this blue task? Because then they might work on task 5. Is it completing this red task? Because then maybe they work on task 3 so that then the team B can work on task 3 so that finally it can be done. And then if you say that, actually, there's a laser pointer. I want to use this more often. If you say that task 4 or this green task is the most important thing to the company, you have to also let team A know that it needs to be done. So now you have to make sure that you're organized in such a way. So what am I building up to? What am I building up to? The fact of the matter is, prioritization is a lot of work. And managing all of this, dependencies and whatnot. But even then, you get into arguing matches, right? You get into these, well, like, I need to do this because it's going to make platforms 50% faster. And this could be a big task. This could take the team 2 weeks to do. It could put everything else on hold for 2 weeks. And how does the company how does it deal with this? Well, a lot of times this team will have a PM here, and this team will have a PM here, and this team will have a PM here. And all of these teams have their own PMs. Now, one of the things is this PM might see task 6 as the biggest thing to make money. And this team might see task 8 as a really cheap, easy win that will also make money. Or solve a really big customer complaint and help with retention. They're not necessarily both wrong, right? They might both be right. And then this PM is going to be like, I can provide everything so much faster if we can just do this. Now, what SiriusXM came to the conclusion of is that the reason this PM thinks task 8 is the highest priority is because of assumptions that they've made. And the same with task 6 or the red track is because of assumptions. And so what they did, which I really, really, really liked, and they're actually really new on this journey. It's something they've been doing. So I'm not even going to say like it's a well figured out. It's still in like, I'm not going to say prototype mode, but it's still in like, they're themselves are still figuring this out. But what they basically did was they built a grid of priorities. Just gonna draw this really quickly. Let's see. We want to top it off like that. Okay. It looks reasonable. They built a grid for prioritization. And basically, the prioritization is based off of assumptions. Is based off of assumptions. And there's a bunch of different assumptions that they have is like speed, impact, like the number of people impacted, possible money, like the possible revenue, and they have a bunch of these, even to stuff like, if it's going to make things more stable, improve stability, things like this. And so basically in this, everything can get a 0 to 5. So we can do 0 to 5, and each one of these can score, and their matrix is much bigger. I specifically actually added one that aren't in their metrics. They have basically all these things, and then they put a feature A, and they score it based off of the sum of all of these things, and that gives you your priority. So your priority is based off of these assumptions. Now, what they're calling it, which is the really cool idea here, I think, is that they're stating this is assumptions as code. And you're like, we haven't even talked about code yet. We're getting there. We're getting there. So, how do we get what these assumptions are? How do we agree on that these are good, correct assumptions? So, what happens is the assumptions that back all of these ratings are stored in a repository. So, in a repository, in a repo, assumptions as planning. I mean, you're not wrong. You're also not wrong. You could say assumptions as code or assumptions as planning. I think both would be as planning or priority. So what they do is they make a document, feature A's, some assumptions. And in here, they're like, it will affect 500 customers. And I'm not sharing any of their stuff. I mean, obviously, this was at a conference, so I don't think any of it hurts. But when it goes public, I'll show some of their stuff. It will affect 500 customers, and they have a structure to it. I think it's not a any file. It's I think it's a TOML. It's a well-structured TOML file. And in that, they actually use a template that they follow in that TOML file. But basically, they list out, it will affect 500 customers. And we know that because of link to metric. And so basically, it forces you to list out all of it. And then what you do is that PR review, that's when you're validating your assumptions. You're getting somebody else to validate your assumptions. And then, if all else, when this is merged, they get scored and given their priority. And their priority number is then the thing. So what this does is it stops the talk about being what's most impactful to that this team thinks is most impactful. And they actually used they have, the funny thing is it wasn't perfect. And so they actually have a fudge factor. So like they have a couple fudge factors in the calculation here. And so like their thing is like assumptions times security times they didn't call it this, but it's like because the CEO said so. Basically they had these as you have this, and then obviously security, your product security team could say it's really high priority, or the CEO could say it's really high. But these were basically fudge factors that could be leveraged to make high security impact things, have a higher priority. Should this be like for Microsoft? They don't have a 0 to 5; they have a -5 to 5. And then like okay, we're going to make this less confusing. We're going to do we're going to do it like this. -5 to 5, and then in their calculation, they just absolute value this assumptions number. They just straight up absolute value that. In a stability, they have a -5 to 0. Oh, Microsoft, the jokes you have earned. I used to defend Windows in Windows 10 because I thought it got a lot of hate for the UI when I actually thought it was really good. And then I hate it because like I had been defending Microsoft. Like they did stuff with like the C# compiler. I thought they were on the up and up. And then they literally just jumped off a cliff in the last year. And they make me feel bad for being like, I think they got their act together. Woo. Woo. Just right off that cliff. So at the end of the day, what I thought was really cool about this was it got egos and teams out of the conversation. It forced the conversation about the assumptions that you were making on a feature or anything. And it forced you to list out where those assumptions were coming from. And so like every assumption in their thing had to be backed by a data that people could go look up to validate that assumption. Now, there were some challenges that they're struggling with. There's a lot of files. How do you know of a similar one? You know, you have another one that's similar, another feature B. Right now, this is the only tie to AI. Right now, this is why this system is working, because they actually use AI to ingest all of that information to understand that. They're looking at maybe making this based off of like a graph database, like an internal graph database, so that you could do like a similarity search. They definitely still have problems, but I think that this is a really cool way to start thinking. You are codifying what is the priority to work on. And so when you're like, why is the red task? Well, red task is a priority because here's all the assumptions. And because here's all the assumptions, you can see that it has the highest priority score. And so that's what people should be prioritizing. And if you disagree with the assumptions, go disagree, make a PR that changes the assumptions because you have better data. Like go in here and be like, well, actually, it's going to be 250 because I changed to 250 because actually I don't know, whatever. And then that changes its impact score or the revenue or whatever. And gets you to start talking about these things. I think that's so cool. As this has consumed more and more of my time in my role at my company, like getting us to argue about facts and letting the priorities be what the priorities are is just fantastic to me. So, like I said, I think that there's a lot of open questions still. Like I don't think anything here is solved. And it's like a very new framework. I actually talked to them a little bit at length. Both Eleanor and Mina. I talked to both of them. I say at length. I only got like half an hour with them. But they admitted that there was problems with it at this point. That it wasn't perfect, and that because you can come up with some of these yourselves. I'm sure of it. But I'm really excited about like moving the priority talk away from what you feel the priority is to what our assumptions are on these. We had something called license plating on tickets at one point. It wasn't quite the same, but you could tell why things were bumped in priority because of it. Yeah. This feels like an evolution of that with the brief that comes with it and the amount of dimensions of scoring. Yeah. And like they said, like what matters to your company, like this could change. So they actually talked about the evolution. They're not even sure that they're actually tracking the right things, or not all of them. Um, and that changed over time. So they had a couple different slides of like the different things that they have done at different times, and how that evolved a little bit, as well as how this end calculation changed a little bit. This is also I forget off the top of my head. It's divided by something as well, because what they found, like this was too swingy, and so they divided it by oh, I think it was the effort. So it's like effort. It was effort times two or something like that. It was effort times two. They had like this random constant in there, which I enjoyed. What I loved about this talk was it wasn't canned and it wasn't saying they did anything perfect. They literally were like, this is something we've struggled through. This has made things better already. And there's a lot more we need to do. And it was very real. It was like, yeah, we have this effort times two, and we're not sure if that there's another metrics that's supposed to be down here to complement effort, or if we just need to score effort higher, like it double all the points that effort gets. Like, is this the right way, or is it because we're missing something? We're not sure. You know, they could have just left this off. Like, it wouldn't have mattered. But they just talked about how really they were coming up with this, and it seemed really interesting. Like I said, I haven't done it in practice. I'm really excited about it because to me, it's really cool. And then they have an AI that's ragged with all of this data that you can go and ask about the priorities, which that's the only AI piece of this whole talk was like, yeah, they have this AI and because all of this is in Git, that AI has like super easy access to it to just like go over it at a company wide level to tell you about the priorities because it's all here in code. And they thought that there could be like some tooling built on top of this. They said like right now they don't have a whole lot of tooling other than the AI, but that possibly you wouldn't need the AI if you had better tooling with like one of their thoughts right now is like a graph that's built on top of that. So anyways, I got really excited about this because if you're in engineering leadership, the priority argument is like, and I know it's like kind of my job, which makes me feel bad when like one of the things that I could say is like actually probably one of my jobs is one of the things that I hate the most. And it's because like people don't agree on what it is because they have a different viewpoint, and people that like PMs that are really good can see that different that different observation point of the same problem, right? So it can be referred to as like a framing issue and seeing it how the other people see it. But that's actually really difficult, and assuming everybody has the ability to reframe everything is absurd, especially because like this team could do something completely different. And so task one could look really, really stupid to this PM because like they don't even do stuff over here. And so, yeah, it's, I don't think it's a great statement. You know, reframing is hard, and reframing to any frame, you don't have the knowledge to reframe your position or your viewpoint because you don't have all the data. You've never seen the obelisk from the other side. Do you know that it's square, or could it be a cylinder on the other side of the obelisk? You don't know because you've never seen it, and if you've never seen it, you can't reframe to it. Russell, that's a huge problem. That like you just hit a nail directly on the head. This I think this goes back to at the beginning of this. I talked about do I still have it up? Why do I forget its name? Yeah. Project Aristotle. Like, what increases performance and makes teams successful? So, psychological safety. Team members feel safe to take risks and be vulnerable in front of each other. Number one. Dependability. Team members get things done on time and meet Google's high bar for structure and clarity. Team members have clear roles, plans, and goals. And what you have to realize is that these clear roles, plans, and goals have to align. So what Russell is hinting at here is that some departments, if they're not aligned at the department level of what is the priority, then the fact that you have this clear thing doesn't mean that you're aligned with the other departments. And if you're not aligned with the other departments, then you have this problem where you're shipping the things that you are because your director or your VP said, like, that's where you're going to get your bonus. And this actually hurts this number 3, this structure and clarity. And this is actually going to make your teams work less quickly, because they don't have that structure and clarity. And it's like vitally important. Like, it's vitally important that you have that. If you haven't read this, it's good. I don't think AI is bringing the psychological safety we were hoping. I know that first it was blockchain that was going to bring us psychological safety, and then it was AI that was going to bring us psychological safety. AI is going to get it there. It's going to solve it. Stop doubting. Because you doubt. I had somebody tell me that because I doubted, I was not able to use AI as well as them. That is literally it's not a quote because it was framed differently. It was framed something like, you're never going to be able to use AI as well as I do because you keep thinking about checking its work. I was like, okay, brother. Whatever you say. Maybe seeing the safety in 3D. Well, what you haven't done, Russell, is actually you need to see it's AI using blockchain in 3D. That's going to bring the psychological safety. When you see your AI agent, like, you want to, you know what these projects got wrong? AI agent registry, it needs to be in VR so that you can actually log in and see your agents running between things, doing things. Oh, look, that agent's over in the logs. Amazing. It's doing log work. Look, now he's running over to the production system. I bet he's going to delete the database. Like, that's what you need to see. And that's going to bring psychological safety. And it's also going to bring psychological safety to your statistically advanced machine learning agents, sufficiently advanced statistical analysis machines, because we really need to worry about their psychological safety. So yeah. Oh no, the blockchain is literal blocks. And it's cool. You'll see your balance, and literally when your agent pops up a purple block, that will be 10 blocks, and a brown block is a 1 block. So you can actually see it exchanging your money to other agents in 3D. Maybe 4D. Maybe 4D. Like when it pulls out a purple block, a dollar bill just disappears from your wallet. You know, you had a dollar bill sitting in there. Poof, gone. 4D. Also, if anybody ever tells you that you're never going to be as good because you haven't huffed copium, be careful with what they think. I'm just going to throw that out there. The answer is never copium. Yeah, just be wary. All right, let's try to fix this with Claude. I think that we can fix this with Claude while we play around with Spark. Well, don't say that about Chromium, okay? Don't say that about Chromium. Chromium sometimes is the answer, okay? A little chrome finish. Actually, honestly, Chromium is so bad for the environment. I'm gonna have to take that back. Like, there's things that you could argue about whether they're good for the environment or not. Chrome is not one of those. Yeah. Actually, I will never get another motorcycle with Chrome on it. It is effectively illegal to put a chrome coat on a, like, in the US. It is effectively illegal. And when it's effectively illegal somewhere, not just like, oh, to follow all the regulations, it would be more expensive. So like, that's some things where it's like, oh, to follow all the regulations and do it safely, it would just be really expensive and we'll let some other country destroy its environment. Instead of doing that, no, there's no way to do it. That's a good insight. Oh, you were talking about the browser. Dang it, I went off on a weird tangent. I should have thought about the browser first too. I'm a tech person, right? Man, that was a weird tangent. I'm sorry. You guys should look up how a Chrome coding is when I become rich and famous on YouTube and Twitch, I want this. When I have just $27,000 of extra money, I want to get this and drive it across the US. One, I'm a sucker for the single side swing arm. I am a sucker for the single side swing arm. Also, it is not chain driven. There are not many direct drive bikes out there. And I really don't like chains. I really don't like change. I like this. I don't know which color scheme. This is pretty sweet, but I also like the red line because red's my favorite color. So like that looks pretty sweet to me. My only critique of this bike, is, and I think that this is changeable. I think that this arm can unbolt here and you can put the license plate where the license plate is supposed to go. Like, take this whole thing off. We already have a brake light there. Take this whole assembly off and slide it up here. Now, this is a ridiculous amount to pay for a motorcycle. Just like, to be clear, I need to have... Asher, that's enough. Good boy. I know, somebody drove up our driveway, dropped off our mail, and then left. It's okay. It's a ridiculous amount to pay for a boat. I want one. I want one. I'm gonna have to let them outside. They heard the doorbell. But then the plate would be covered in dirt and mud. What? This is not a off-the-road motorcycle. I'm sorry. This is I ride on a road motorcycle. What? Let me go unleash the pups, and then I'll be right back to argue your dirt and mud. Do you have people polishing your roads? Yeah, dude. I mean, like, don't you? Isn't that like standard? It's not like also see this right here? This catches most of it because like if you think of centrifugal force, most of the splatter is up on the underside of your bike, not up here, right? Right here does not get hit by that much. I think I agree that here would be better, but like every motorcycle is right there in the US. And if you go through mud, it's hitting right here, right? It's spraying up right here. No, wait. I mean, it does spray up, but that's from the front tire. The back tire is spraying up right back here, right? Not here. This is probably more in the way. I've never had a problem here. I've never had a bike that has this. It looks like it's just these 3 bolts right here. That one, and that one. I think you can just take this whole assembly off. I think that's probably what I would do. But this is my, I have Buku's money. I'm going to drive across the US. What I would love to do is drive all the way up to like Alaska. I think that would be beautiful. Like, especially like when you hit Canada, like you're just gonna have long stretches of road to just tour. Oh, Absolutely beautiful. Anyways, hopes and dreams. It sprays all around. I also don't ride when it's wet if I can help it. Okay, that's like another, like, I am a rider for pleasure. If it's wet, I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass. Let's see, cursor. Let me just pull it up side by side. We're gonna try this. Can we just go like full agent mode? Try agent's window. What is agent's window? Okay, maybe this is cool. Don't save. Okay, we're gonna try this. Okay, we're gonna try this. How do I tell it what repository or what repo like to work in? Okay, so we're gonna work in Twitch alerts. Okay, cool. I think this is the new thing that people were complaining about. We'll see. I've never actually used this view. We're gonna try to fix this while we then set up these. How would it not let me see the code? Like, if the code's on disk, maybe if it's all in the cloud. I mean, that's what's going to, AI is going to go cloud first, right? That's what's going to happen. Airbnb is already doing that. I was talking to them, is people don't want the AI to run on their laptop because they want to like kick the thing off and let it work for an hour. And they want to like not have it tied to their laptop being awake. Yeah. Here's your binary. Here's your binary and enjoy it. My dogs knew it was the mail lady that comes up. I think they sit in there and watch like the little security camera. They knew it was her because they ran out and they ran straight to where she left the package. They're like, but they weren't going to stop barking unless if I let them out to go see the package. All right. No agents yet. Let's add an agent here. New agent in this one. Okay, this is cool. What we're going to do is when I run, when I run the project using this command, I get the following errors. All right, should I trust it and give it the credentials? I get the following error output. I'm gonna try not to. I would prefer not, but let's see what it can do. Okay. There's also an interesting thing. I think there's two different types of engineers, and I'm definitely the other one. And maybe that's why I've more migrated to management. Talking to some of these leaders last week, and something I have been thinking about. I think there's two different types of engineers. There's one that actually really like to program. I mildly like to program it. I find it enjoyable. I do. But there's some that like really like the actual act of writing code. Like that really gets them excited. And that's fine. And then I would say that for me, more importantly for me, I like building stuff. I like building stuff. And so for me, it doesn't even matter. Like it can be out of wood. I like building stuff out of wood. I don't care what it is. I like building projects and doing things. That's why I have my own Twitch alerts and things. Building those things and learning how to do them and how the pieces fit together is really interesting to me. And so like, I think it's difficult for some people because like this may be in the future in 5, 6, 7 years, maybe they do less of the thing that they really love doing. I don't know. Okay, we have these. How do we want to test them out? We could just chat a little bit with them, or I think we could open them up in Zed. I think we got Zed working. America's making Wordle off stream. I hate Wordle. Oh, did I parse this thing wrong? Oh my goodness. I cannot read. I cannot read. This is interesting. It doesn't allow me to see the code. Huh. Okay, so I'm just gonna run, let's see, actually I wanna, can we remove Minimax from here? M2.7. Do I have to do the, okay. I think it was unable to stop it because it wasn't running. That would be my guess. I don't love this. Like, it doesn't show me the changes. It did a bunch of stuff for just one. Oh, internet just dropped. You wanna know why? You wanna know why? I talked about why earlier. It's storming. It's storming. If it starts dropping a bunch again, we will, oh, are we dropping a bunch of frames now?